What's up, everyone, and welcome to Save the Game Boy, your monthly Nintendo podcast presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, and today I am joined by my twin brother, Kyle. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. We look shockingly similar right now. I gotta tell you.
A little similar. I
Yeah.
mean, we are twins. It's a
Yeah.
normal thing.
But I think if I didn't put the glasses on, people would be like, "Whoa,
Whoa, twins.
did
Anyway,
I just do that with my mind?"
did I just become a twin with my mind? Anyway, if you're new, this is your monthly Nintendo podcast that used to be Patreon exclusive, but it is now public for everyone to enjoy. If you do want exclusive content, you can head on over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia. Choose the tier that's right for you. Get exclusive bonus post shows every single month. I think there's about 7 of those you get a month. The leftovers are gaming, fitness exclusive podcasts, and so much more over there, just like our current Patreon supporters. And I want to give them a quick shout out. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Alpaca Tom, Amon, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotripe, Dave Harp, and the Xbox Expansion Pass. Thank you all so much for your support. But we are here to talk about one game in particular for this month. I know there's a Nintendo Direct coming tomorrow at when the time we're recording this, but I'm busy tomorrow. We might do a live react. Some people might be doing it. I don't think I can be there. But instead, what we're going to do for February's episode is we're going to talk about this game right here, Fire Emblem Engage. We've both beaten it. We've both put lots of hours into it. So, Kyle, I want to start off with our overall impressions. What did you think of Fire Emblem Engage?
I like it. I don't love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a big step backwards in a lot of ways from Three Houses. But I do think that there are some like redeeming qualities and some things that they actually did really well that I enjoyed. But overall, I'd say it's worse than Three Houses, and I still think Three Houses is a better overall game.
Yeah, I'm very much in the same boat. Even more so, I think this is a huge step backwards, basically all around for me. Towards the, I think I finished around 33 hours. I don't know where you came in.
46.
Okay, but you did all the paralogs, and I only did some of the paralogs. So
Yeah.
I wrapped it. I just did the main story, some of the paralogs, and at the end there, I was very much in the camp of this is becoming a slog. Like I'm ready for this game to be over. I found a lot of it to be tedious. I didn't find myself connecting with a lot of the characters. And I think that for me is one of the big reasons why I'm like, this is a huge step backwards in the Fire Emblem franchise. And you've played more Fire Emblem games than me, right? How many?
Yeah.
What have you played?
4 or 5, I think.
Okay.
I can't. Well, it would be more actually if you count each one of like the Fate like games, because they were split into 3 different ones. Because it was like Conquest, Birthright, and then Revelations or whatever. But speaking of Fates and all that, this game reminds me of that, like the whole thing of it. It reminds me of it from one, the fact that this game, just like that game, pretty censored in the Western release.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a lot of I mean, I played in fully Japanese, and I assume you did too. Mm-hmm. There are so many lines that they say, or that should be translated different ways, especially in the later like A or Pact Ring bonding episodes with characters, where they removed pretty much any hint of romance in the Western release, where in the Japanese version that is not the case. They basically made all, and I have viewed every single Pact Ring, because I just wanted to see like what all the characters Pact Ring things were, and I have viewed all of them. And in the Western release, I'd say there's maybe 3 of them that could be taken romantically. The rest are all just like, yeah, we're best friends forever. We'll always be together. But in the Japanese one, it's like, no, I love you. Like, you know?
Interesting.
And so there's that. And just the way that this game came out off of what was seen as like a big step forward, I think, by a lot of people in the franchise, like Awakening was. And I know a lot of people give Awakening like a lot of I don't know, negative connotation for some things, like its map design. And I agree, its map design wasn't the best, or the fact that it was stuck on the 3DS, so they didn't have feet. Like none of the characters have feet. I mean, it looks ridiculous, but you move past it. But and Awakening was super cool because they still had the, you're fighting a war, but you fall in love and you have kids aspect. And then that was carried forward, but then they removed it in Three Houses. But it kind of made sense. It was kind of cool because you were the teacher, you were the instructor, and they made up for it with really in-depth characters, like lots of depth, really connecting. You spent a lot of time with them. And I think the characters in Three Houses were so much more memorable because of that. Whereas in Engage, they took a huge step back. It feels like it was written by someone completely different. And it just reminds me of Awakening was up here, and then they went down here for Fates. And then Three Houses up here, and then they went down here for Engage. And I've heard and read a rumor that this was actually supposed to be the 25th anniversary Fire Emblem like game, just as like a celebration of it. And I think that kind of makes sense with
all the emblems,
with all the emblems and the Engage rings. More of like I'd say this is definitely more of a streamlined Fire Emblem game that focuses more on the combat than anything else.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I was just like, I could see that. That makes a lot of sense to me. But
I think,
what about you?
I think Fire Emblem you either fall into 2 camps. You play it for the strategy combat gameplay, and then Three Houses and in what you're saying, Awakening, I think there's another camp where people really like those in-depth characters, the more Persona-esque elements, if you will. And because I've seen people praise this game for its gameplay specifically, because the people praising it are people that didn't click as much with Three Houses. So in my mind is you're probably falling into 2 camps. And what I think is interesting is another thing we've seen come out is that apparently Engage was done by 2021. Like they've been sitting on this game for quite some time, which makes me think this game was developed in conjunction with Three Houses, so that there's clearly two different Fire Emblem teams over there, and they're maybe going in different directions. And I'm not saying this game is bad. I enjoyed my time enough with it. I think it got a little long there at the end, so things got stretched out. It wasn't exactly what I wanted for the follow-up, which I think is what leads me to a feeling of disappointment. But if we get a cadence going forward of after Engage, the next Fire Emblem entry is more similar to Three Houses, and then we get one that's more similar to Engage and Fates. Like they keep that almost like how Pokemon is doing the 2 different, they kind of have different spin-offs. If we can get a Fire Emblem similar like that, I think that can appease both fan bases, because there is enough to enjoy about this game that people from Three Houses, if that was your first entry like it was for me, you'll still have a good time. But it does make you like, the whole time I'm sitting here comparing it to Three Houses. And I don't know if that's fair to Engage, because gameplay wise, it's still really good. I don't think it's some super incredibly massive step forward, as a lot of people seem to think. Apparently the map design is better. I never really thought.
The map design, at least compared to, I didn't think Three Houses map design was bad. I actually like a lot of Three Houses map design, but compared to Awakening, especially, this is much better map design.
I think the map design here is harder. But some battles I felt like, because one of the elements this game loves doing is surprise reinforcements, right? Like they just show up, right? And for me, that's like super annoying because like then I have to use the time crystal more than I want. And the time crystal for me is kind of a crutch. Like I don't want to use it. So the more you make me use it to like for elements, like how am I supposed to know flyers are going to come in from the back? I have no way of knowing. So when they do, then I have to like, okay, my units aren't positioned correctly. People are going to die. So I have to go backwards. It just makes me feel like I didn't really have as much control in the strategy as I wanted.
And I think, I don't know if this is just me or if more Fire Emblem fans feel this way, but I think the time crystal is kind of at odds with the classic like mode that Fire Emblem presents of permadeath, because if I can rewind time and my choices don't actually matter,
yeah, you can go back to the start of the battle.
Then why even have the permadeath classic mode like to begin with? It seems like they want to keep that mode because I'm sure there's some like purists who do like no time crystal runs and things like that. But you know, for a lot of people, I think that they'll be like, oh, I made a mistake, my character died. Rewind.
Yep.
And then it's like, why did I even choose this difficulty to begin with? I was always going to rewind. And I know people would do that when they would die. They would just turn the game off and then reload. I don't know. It seems like they're stuck in a midway point where they need to either make a decision like, okay, it's just the time crystal going forward, or there's no time crystal in this in like this classic mode where everyone is permadeath.
Yeah. I agree with that. It almost seems like they're trying to appease everyone, but I chose classic because I do want that risk, but the time crystal takes away all the risk of the mode. So I'm like, what is the point in why not make a hardcore mode? Like Diablo has, right? Where if your character dies, it's gone forever, which is supposed to be what classic is. Or, and I don't know if this is a thing on hard or maddening difficulty, limit the amount you can use the time crystal. Give you like you can use it 3 times a battle in hard mode.
I believe there is a limit. Yeah.
Okay. Because that makes sense to me. But even then, like, what's the point of normal classic? Just if you choose normal, you might as well just make it casual, like only.
Yeah, because it's just unlimited time crystal.
It for real though, and it's I don't know. The gameplay, like I said, still very good in my opinion.
I do want to give them credit because I think that the combat and the overworld and all that actually looks really good.
Oh yeah, the game looks good.
I think it is a very pretty Switch game, and I think
Switch game.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna rant about why there are some negatives in this game that I don't think are the game's fault, that I think is the hardware's fault. And so that's why I said that I enjoy that it does look as good as it does, and the combat is so engaging and good. Like the combat and all that stuff was not any issue. I thought it was all fantastic. I thought it all looked great.
I think some of the battles take a little too long.
I don't think
an hour and a half minimum.
I don't think I had a battle go longer than 12 turns.
Oh, I had battles like into the 20s.
No, I don't. I think I finished all. I think maybe one went to 20, but that's just because it was a long map. But other than that, I think every single one was finished like in 6 turns.
Jeez.
Yeah. But I think that depends on like units and movement and all that stuff. Well, I lost my train of thought.
Switch ruining the game.
Yes. I think there are some definite hardware limitations, and I think they are the most apparent in the Somniel or whatever.
Somniel, yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up too.
So first, let you say your thoughts about the Somniel, and I don't think you enjoyed it, and
I hate this place. I hate the Somniel so much. Like, people complained about the academy or the monastery or whatever you want to call it in Three Houses. I would take that every single day over this garbage excuse for a hub. I hate this place. Not only because there's nothing really to do here. That's one of my main, like, what is there's so many icons and so many little figures, but nothing really matters. At a certain point, I just stopped really going there. Like, I would buy some staves to have people like be able to heal and stuff. But other than that, it's like the weapons you could buy where you could only buy copies of the weapons you had, at least in my experience. The arena was the only reason to go there, to level up your characters. And the problem with that is it becomes so tedious going there because you have to go into a loading screen that takes so long to warp you to this empty room, to click a menu button, and then you have to warp back to go back to the Somniel. Like, it was so annoying. And I think the loading screens in this area alone like show me that the Switch, I'm like, you're struggling here. Like, there's no reason to split every single little area up. And then you have things like the cafe, which I'm gonna tell you right now, Kyle, I didn't get a single character at A rank, so I have no idea what the like. I started going to the cafe, and nobody would get ranked up, and I was like, I don't really, what am I doing wrong here? I don't get it. The training or the exercise, pointless. It's all pointless. The adopting animals, pointless. Absolutely pointless. Nothing here matters. It's a stupid, pointless area. And the only redeeming quality is that it's better than another stupid, pointless area, which is the after battle area, where you get to walk around and talk to all your companions to collect bond fragments. That is the most pointless area I have ever seen. I stopped talking to people after a while. I hopped in the teleporters because and a big thing was, what do I need all the bond fragments for? What am I using them for? To create create these rings that nothing's doing?
No, this is where you're wrong. This is where you're wrong, because bond fragments were really great and you could use them. I didn't have enough bond fragments. I needed them so much. But anyways, you touched on what I was saying about the hardware limitations, because every single thing was a different screen and there were long sections on the Somniel. They were completely barren, nothing in them. And it was obviously because the load, they didn't want to stress the Switch too much. And then they wouldn't load all the characters onto the map because they also couldn't fit them all. They would do that. You talk to somebody, like, and then, oh, let me go get Prince, what's his face? And then he would come over, and like all of the mini games to give not permanent stat boost, pointless. They weren't fun. They weren't really even that intuitive. Like I don't know about you, but did you do the push-up one?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Okay. Did you find that you had to hit the A button, like, I don't know, half a second before it even gets down to the bottom? Like, you couldn't time that correctly. You had to hit it beforehand. It was not synced up in any way.
Oh, I don't really know if I clicked that on my I play mostly docked, and I don't know if you played handheld.
But either way, it was not synced up. It was really annoying. But once you got used to it, you could basically just do it without looking. Like, I would look at my phone and just be hitting A, because I was just like, I'll just do it. The Wyvern ride, lame. The Anna shop that she opens, that's not a spoiler. Anna's in every Fire Emblem.
Anna's in every Fire Emblem.
Completely pointless, because every single gift that you can give is not worth buying. It's completely pointless. You should just pick up the pretty pebbles off the ground and give those to people if you're going to give them gifts. Do not give them horse manure like Kevin did. And then you talked about the animals. What tip? Adopt nothing but dogs. They'll dig up iron ingots and other things for you, and then that's basically all you need, because everything else is worthless. You get way more food than you would ever need. I stopped going to the pets. I wasn't using food. I wasn't eventually
using
eventually I just stopped doing almost all of it except for the arena.
Yep.
And what I liked about the arena and what I liked about the emblem system overall is, like you said, you get the bond fragments. And you can use the bond fragments that even if you don't have that emblem equipped on a character, you can take the bond fragments, level the bond up with that character, and to be able to inherit the skills from that character. And so like I had a, you know, sword users. I don't know about you. They're everywhere in this game. I feel like everyone has a sword. Every single person in this game has a sword.
Oh, that's not what I felt at all.
Oh my God.
I felt like everyone had axes and magic.
No, everyone's got a sword. Even the people that are like, oh, you clearly don't have it. Oh, you have a sword? All right. I mean, axes, you know, too. But so I would just take like Marth's proficiencies and his abilities. I would just level them up on all my sword users. They'd immediately get S rank in all of their things and be able to, when I did seal them, you know, it didn't matter as much because they were already S ranked. And that's another thing that I didn't find out until after I'd beaten the game. The way seals work in this game, and I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but
no, I was gonna ask you about the seals because I ended I used master seals on all the characters. So I only had a total of 2 classes. Like I only went up to 1, like, and then nothing. Like I maxed that one out at the end of the game.
Yeah. So they kind of changed the way seals work, and I didn't find this out until after. Is normally in Fire Emblem, you get the character to the max level of the class that they are, right? And then you would advance them, and then once you got the max of that, you would change them. Yeah. And here, there's no penalty for just switching early, except for like the stat decrease that you get when you change the things. But here you can use the second seals and just change class willy-nilly at any point.
Yeah, I knew that.
Or say Unica got to level 20 on the thief, you could just use the second seal, resend her back to level 1 as a thief, go to level 40. She'd keep all the same boost she'd got, but get all the more boosts. And by the way, Unica is completely broken. And you would just get all the boosts from the thief class again through level 40. And you could just do that. And there was no penalty. So I was not a fan of how they have done seals and things in this game. I much preferred the older games where there was a clear line of progression that everyone started at a base class and then they went to an intermediate, advanced, and then like a master class.
And they had a tree and you could branch off those trees. So like, because I felt like certain characters were fulfilling like the same roles.
Yeah.
And one of my big critiques with this game is there's way too many characters. They give you way too many people to manage. And they make like the starting characters almost redundant. Like, because they'll just introduce you like, oh, they're the better version of this person. Like, why would I continue to level up, even though I suck with some of the base characters? But like, I just feel like they did not do a good job of making you feel like, oh, I should invest my time into certain characters. I should try to aim for these classes, because there was no clear line in progressing. Like 3 houses, or an older Fire Emblem from the sound of it, is like, oh, this like half the fun of certain runs was like, what crazy class can I make the characters? And like, I guess you could do that in this game, but it's like harder, more annoying to do it. I don't know.
I don't know why you would.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like they clearly, I feel like they pigeonholed the characters a lot more in Engage.
Yeah, I and there was less, at least for me, I only recognized 2 or 3 special classes. So I feel like there was less of them. Like there was Divine Dragon,
Fell Child,
Thief, and then whatever Celine was. She,
no, it started with a D, didn't it?
she had some princess thing or whatever, but everyone else was like, "Oh, I'm a warrior. I'm a knight."
They had some cool classes. Like I liked Wolf. Like I used Marin a lot. I liked the Wolf Knight.
How good is Wolf Knight?
Wolf Knight is such a cool class. But no, I felt so. Here's the thing: like Marin was good because she could also use swords and daggers. But like daggers in this game, I feel are super underpowered. They suck most of the time. No, you disagree?
You are so wrong.
I used the thief guy, right? I forget his name, the emo dude, right? Yeah. And he went past level 20, right? So like, because he started higher, and you couldn't advance him. He did barely any damage to any class with his
Zelkov.
Knife.
That's his name,
Zelkov. He was the closer. If they had barely any HP, I would move him because that's the only way they could get kills and level up was like cleaning up everyone else's mess.
No. So I used Marin and Unica since the minute they got introduced. I actually ended up making Unica a Wolf Knight after I got her to level 40 with a thief. I was like, all right, let's do this. Both of them were hitting well over 100 damage and attacking twice with their knives, and they could do this from far away. Like they didn't even need to be up close. But if they were like the last boss of the game, I'm not gonna say who it is.
The easiest, but there were harder levels before.
Yeah, but the last boss of the game, I one-shotted his health bar just with one attack from Unico with their knife because they were just so overpowered. And I think a lot of that came from the bond fragments and getting all those skills and increasing them. And then I think a lot of it came from hyper focusing on those characters because like what you said, I feel like you either stick with the first ones that you get, like that really grab your attention and you hyper invest in them, or you replace them with the later ones and then those later ones carry you to the end. I didn't use certain characters, but you used them the entire time. But for me, they were level 1 the entire game. I was like, okay. And you said there was more, like there's too many characters, and I agree. But when you compare it to Three Houses, there's less characters.
No, but the thing is, Three Houses makes you choose a house.
Exactly, which is why...
And you get a limited cast.
Yeah, which is what I think Three Houses did better to manage all those characters. Like, you could still recruit them, obviously.
Well, yeah, but
like, you got to pick and choose. You if you didn't want to overwhelm yourself, you didn't have to. But in this one, it's like, oh, hey, you got this person. Hey, you got this person. And I missed somebody.
I let people die, and I didn't recruit people.
And I still thought there were too many.
It's just one of those things. Like, my problem with like the cast, there were so many of them, and so many just had no actual complexity or depth to their characters. And this becomes super apparent when you look at things like the support conversations, where in Three Houses you would hear, like, I'd go talk to Petra and she would tell me about the struggles of her homeland and being taken away.
Yeah.
And here 99% of the conversations are about fucking tea. I'm sorry, I know it's a Nintendo show, but it's about tea or food or Louis, who's one of my favorite characters, staring at people. That was a big, he likes to stare at people. And I'm like, this is where we're going. This is what they thought was good writing in this game. They thought these were the conversations. I started skipping most of them I was like, I can't be bothered.
The Bond conversations, I don't think it was any defending them. All of the Bond conversations with the emblems are actually really lame.
Super lame. One line.
Super lame. They're like, I think their A rank is 2 lines, but even then, so lame. The only ones that I thought even slightly interesting were the ones with Anna, and that's just because they were all like, you kind of look like someone from my world. Yeah. But like, as much as I love, as much as I enjoyed Celine, as like a unit and using her in combat, and I liked her design. Man, if I had to hear,
personality-wise, she's dull as hell.
if I had to hear about the tea trade, or oh, you made this tea from scratch, or what's that smell? What wonderful tea! I'd be like, oh my good. Or actually, I'm gonna give her 1 point of credit because her conversation with a later character that is also one of my favorites from this game, where they compare who's cuter. I actually thought that was super adorable, and I liked it a lot.
Well, like Eddie is my favorite character in the game. From like I always love the Archer characters, but even when I was watching her conversations, it was like she would just talk about how like attractive Alir was, and then how much she liked working out. And I'm like, is this all there is to like this?
Or she'd hit on Unica for her.
There's nothing else going on. Nothing else going on. There's no backstories to these characters. There's no family dynamics they want to talk about. Nothing, absolutely nothing going on. And that is a shame.
And I'm just going to compare it to what I believe is your favorite character from the last game with Bernadetta.
Yeah, Bernadetta.
Both Archer characters, and Bernie's got such a tragic, like kind of dark backstory of like abuse and neglect and all this. And where's that? Like there are in
this game.
I think there's less than a handful of characters in this game that have something interesting in their backstory. The rest are so cookie cutter, vanilla, plain and boring.
I don't remember half their names.
No, I literally have a list right here on my phone because I was like, I want to be able to recall their names, but I can't because 99% of them are just completely forgettable.
You want to know what character has a good backstory? Is Movier, the one of the later units you get.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you how you thought about the villains and the antagonists of the game.
and maybe we'll put we'll go into spoilers now. All right, so if you haven't beaten the game, okay, we're probably going to touch on the story beats here. I think we've covered enough of how we felt about the game. I mean, it's good.
The game is good. If you like Fire Emblem, get it. I think you'll enjoy it, but don't go in expecting deep, rich characters and backstory. Just play it for the gameplay and play it for the tactical RPG.
Yeah. So we're now in full spoilers. You've been warned. Kyle, I gotta say, in terms of story for this game, this is the most for kids Saturday morning cartoon story I have played in quite some time.
This is literally Power of Friendship, the game.
This story sucks.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not.
The villain, Sombrin, sucks. Not once was I ever... I should say, first meeting with him, I thought, oh, wow, he could be terrifying. Like, he turned into this dragon. Yeah. Every after... I was like, he sucks. He's lame.
Well, actually, I didn't think he was that lame until, he did some less cool things. But the thing that solidified it for me that he was so lame and this was not cool at all was the ending where he's like, I just want to find the Zero emblem, my only friend who left me. And I was like, he left you because you had been taken in and you weren't alone anymore. And you don't understand this? Like, you don't have enough character depth to understand this? I can't. And then oh man.
It was annoying because the twists in this game are not twists at all. They are known almost from the start of it. Like, your main character has red and blue hair. The mom has like, wow, she's actually the secret daughter of the bad guy? No way. Like, you see it coming a mile away. You know that Vale or whatever is evil the minute you meet her. And then she becomes good, obviously, like because she gets brainwashed and everything.
The minute you meet her, I'm like, oh. And then actually, the minute you meet her, I'm like, oh, she was the evil girl under the hood.
Yes.
And then then the second time you meet her, and she's like, I don't understand where I am. Like, how did I get here? I'm looking for my family.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're my main character's sister. I'm like, that's what's happening here. And then it becomes so obvious that she just clearly has an alternate personality that isn't even like a real one because it's made up by like magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe it's the halfway point. No, it's actually not the halfway point. It's chapter 10. I thought once we hit chapter 10, we were gonna turn a page and we were gonna go like dark, like kind of how the time jump is in Three Houses.
Yes, yeah.
I thought, oh crap, we've lost all the emblems. Everyone's evil.
Which can I just say,
we had to retreat.
Sucked. I hated that they took away the emblems. Your whole premise of the game is that you can use the emblems and then you take them away for way too long.
They take them away for quite a while. Before they give you anyone that's actually good.
Oh my god. Ike is the worst emblem in this game. I have to say, the worst emblem in this game.
Is Ike the one that can break barriers in one hit?
No, Ike is his special move. I don't know about the bear. His special move is Great Ether, where he attacks an area. Yeah, he wastes a turn. He attacks an area after the fact. And I'm like, you do not help me.
So I threw Ike on Anna just to get the stat bonus because I made her the Berserker class with like the axe and stuff. But oh yeah, there were so many worthless emblems. At some point I was just like, I guess I'll put you on this person. I don't know. I was like, you're not very good.
I was like, oh, I think it'd be cool. Like, I put Roy on Eddie, and like, it actually worked out pretty well because like I could, when she got into a jam, I could just use his blazing lion and kill everyone. But
I put Roy on Lapis, I believe.
I forgot that was a character.
See, so I think that would be cool. What characters did you use? What characters did you like?
Well, I used Alir, right?
Female,
of course. The male design is ugly.
Yep.
I used Clane. He was my mage. I used From, who
I used From.
She becomes a dope healer, actually. Like she starts off pretty crap, and then she becomes a good healer.
Yeah, it takes a while though.
Yeah, I used Eddie.
I used Eddie too.
Louis, who is my absolute. He tanked the final boss. Like I didn't have to move him out of the area where he did the blast. Louis just stood in it and said no damage, and I go, my man, let's go.
I don't know what blast you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, if at a certain point, he will attack like an area. You know how like the crystals would attack like an area? He can do that too. Okay. I actually I took down for the final boss. I took down the minions and like his shields, and then I went and killed. Yeah. I killed him.
How many phases did that take you though?
Oh, once the shields were down, I killed him in one turn.
Okay.
Like I just used all my characters. And
yeah. Okay. Same.
Yeah. But I had getting to him. He used the blast move, and Louis just tanked it. But
why don't I remember that?
I used Mauvert. Because I like he was pretty good. Another healer. I used Ivy, who I loved. I think Ivy is a dope. The flying wyvern and her character design. Her character design is really good too. I think.
Really, you liked that weird thing in front of her face?
Yeah, it grew on me. Okay, that's half of them.
Celine.
Who else did I use? Yep, I used Celine. I used
Chloe.
Yep.
How dope is Chloe?
She becomes trash later in the game for me. Yeah, she sucked towards the end.
Oh my god, my Chloe was one shot in lines of people with Sigurd's ring.
My Chloe, I've had Sigurd on her. My Chloe was useless for most of the later half of the game.
Mine was so dope.
Zelkov I used Vale, or whatever her name is.
I used her just because I liked
I
her
just
design.
liked her. Yeah, I just liked her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's.
I was like, I don't
11.
expect. I'm like, I don't expect.
Oh,
much from
Marin,
you.
I used. That's 12. And
Marin.
there's 2 more.
Marin might be one of the coolest characters in the game.
Yeah. Oh, Rosado, I used.
The person I thought was a.
I thought it was a girl too.
Was a girl.
And
it's
I
a
can't.
boy.
Who's my 14th character?
Kagetsu.
Yes,
Golmary?
Kagetsu.
Oh,
Who's
okay.
Kagetsu? Yeah, that was my squad. I rolled with them for like the last 10 chapters.
All right. I used Vale. I used Anna. I used Goldmary.
I didn't like Goldmary.
She was weird. Like all her supports, like she was kind of mean to everybody, but then she was like, I don't know, like a goody two shoes. Hortensia, I loved.
I knew you were gonna. Yeah, I knew you were gonna.
Loved her as a character. Oh my god, so good. One of the best characters in the game. I used Ivy sometimes. Disclaimer: I used no men.
Yeah.
None. Not a single one. Panette, I used her.
I don't even know who that is.
She's the girl with like the stitches on her face, orange hair.
No, I didn't get that character.
I mean, everyone gets her. You automatically get her.
I don't think this. I literally have no idea who you're talking about.
She came with Marin. She literally comes with Marin.
Fire Emblem Engage.
Panette.
Pennant.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Well, no. How do you spell? I don't know how to spell her name.
Panette. Panette.
Kyle, I'm gonna tell you right now, I do not remember this character existing in the game.
All right, well, she did. I didn't use Tamara, but shout out to her. I really liked her spunky attitude and her design. The princess of the One Nation.
Oh no, I hated everyone from that nation. That shit sucks.
I liked her design. Lapis, Citron, both good. Chloe, Eddie, Celine, and then my MVP and the best character in this game, Unica.
I've heard Unica gets broken.
She literally couldn't be touched. I would throw her in the middle like that. Chapter 19, where you have to fight Mauvert and what's her face? You know,
Mari, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know her name.
Marnie or whatever her name is.
Marnie. Yes.
I threw her in the middle of all of them, and they all tried to attack her. And she dodged every single one. They never hit her. She'd counter like one shot them, and I'd be like, all right, let's go. Yeah. Except for Mauvert, because for some reason I had to use the ballista to hurt him.
Yeah, it was weird. I know.
Yeah, he would not take damage from anybody.
No, I had engaged everyone to attack him.
I was like, okay,
way to do it.
But Unica also has one of the only romantic endings in the game that isn't like censored. Even though I thought the ending screens, where it gives you like the summary of like what happened to all the characters afterwards,
sucked.
Super lame.
Like, not they're like, oh, they grew up and passed down their titles. I'm like,
yeah. I'm like, what happened to where I could pair other units up together? They would have like an after
I'm saying.
story.
This game was made by a different team.
Yeah, it shows. You could pair yourself up, and that was it. And I did with the best girl.
If we want to talk about the actual story, because now that we've gone over like the characters we use, the story is basically you wake up from a deep slumber, but you're told you're a divine dragon, and you have to go defeat the awakened fell dragon with the power of the Fire Emblems. You meet all the other games.
You meet a lady. She's a MILF. She claims she's your mom, and you're like, whoa.
She dies pretty quickly.
Whoa, you died. Dude, I just met you. You're dead. Yeah, I'm so sad.
You travel around the continent in a circle, collecting party members, and then your emblems get taken away, and then you travel around again in a circle, collecting all of them, and then you beat up the bad guy. Oh, and then it turns out your friend was evil, but being mind controlled, you saved them.
And then she introduces the 4 hounds, which should have been a much cooler deal.
I liked them. They were the 4 characters that I actually enjoyed, but you know what was the problem is they gave 2 of them character development as they were dying. As they were dying. And I'm like, oh, this would have been cool to have, I don't know, during the game when they were alive. And then
where Sephiroth is like, I wish I had, had been able to have a child and like give that like love. And then the one dude's like, you were the only family I knew. Yeah. And they kind of just die. Like, oh,
Mover and Marnie clearly like he like was her protector or whatever, but then she gets murdered by the other one. It was a whole thing of people being like evil until like they weren't
evil just to be evil's sake in the moment,
and then they helped you,
and then it's like, you know what? I decided against that.
Now that you've killed me, I'm going to help you. It was so dumb.
Maybe you were right.
It was bad writing, and then you get the emblems, and you
did you feel anything when like Marty died? Because that was I think that was the only time that I was a little sad. But I think I was more sad that I couldn't use her on my team.
I thought she was going to join. Yeah,
she died. I was like, really? Out of all the characters that die?
It could have been a sad moment if they gave anyone character development throughout the game, but they didn't. They forced it into forced it into one cutscene, and you were expected to take, oh wow, in the space of me hitting the A button, they've had a revelation, and now their character growth is just terrible writing all around. And then you you go to another world and beat the Fell Dragon.
Before you do that, how contrived is it that on your way to the Fell Dragon, it's like, you must face your mother. I can't let you do this. Like, I don't feel anything for this mother.
She died.
I knew her
20 chapters ago.
I knew her for half a chapter. Then she died. Like, I don't feel anything more.
Genuinely bad writing in this game.
Just awful.
This game has, I think it's sitting at an 81 now on OpenCritic, so it's gone down since the reviews. And honestly, like if it was up to me, I'd probably give it a little lower, but I think gameplay saves it.
I would agree. I think back to like Edelgard's story and Lysithia's story and Dimitri's story. Like, there's no scene in this whole game that's as impactful, even just as the Flame Emperor reveal from Three Houses. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like that.
There's no scene that I'm going to go look up. Just like the amount of times I've watched Dimitri crush people's head and go, I'll hang you from the gates of Enbar. Like, so good. There's so many good scenes, and there's not a single one in this game that I'm going to remember. Like, I'm going to list this game on Mercari when we're done with this review and never think about it again. It's a shame that like it's just an okay game for me.
And I don't think it's the fault of the VAs either. I think they actually did a really good job with the lines that they were given for the most part. I think the writing just let them down. Like Sayori Hayami is Chloe's VA in Japanese. Really super famous VA. She's Ayaka in Genshin Impact and a whole bunch of other things. And like Chloe's just given nothing to do except talk about folk food and and as Hortensia puts it, give mom energy. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand what they were doing. And I have to believe, for my own sanity, that it was, like you said, that they were developed at the same time, and that this was just supposed to be a cool Fire Emblem celebration for the 25th anniversary, not like the next big Fire Emblem installment. And the ending, I think, kind of reads like it's a celebration. Like,
because the light shooting up.
With the lights shooting up.
It literally ends with them saying, we'll be here if you need us. Engage. And I was like, oh my God, so cheesy.
I I liked all the emblems they chose. I think there were.
Oh yeah, I think they chose fine now. Like Leaf, I think is really awesome. Like I'm like, oh wow, I wish I could go play his game because I actually really enjoyed using him.
See, that's what I wish they would do. I wish they would springboard off this to either remake or at least bring over some of the older Fire Emblem games that aren't accessible in the West, because now that people have been exposed to all these characters through emblems, they want to play the games, but they can't.
No, well, see, the problem with that is they would want to play the games if the emblems had endeared themselves in any meaningful way. If they had given them, they look cool. That's all you have to go on.
Actually, if you do all of, when did you stop doing paralogs?
I don't know, after like 4 or 5 of them.
Okay, because eventually you just start doing like all the emblems paralogs. Where
I was doing the emblem paralogs.
Yeah, where they tell you their backstory and give you more information about like their world and some hints at what happened. And I actually thought those were pretty cool. I wish that the backgrounds while you have these conversations weren't just plain empty fields, and then they would black screen cut away to another plain empty field with a still image of a castle or something.
Yeah, it sucked. Terrible. It was all bad.
And I think the only emblem that was given a personality, and not even his actual like personality, was Marth.
And it was just, I'm good. We saved the world together.
Yeah, but also what happened was once you reached chapter 10 and Marth got taken away, like you get Lucina, and I love Lucina. Don't get me wrong. Oh. Absolutely love Lucina. Used her I didn't even go back to Marth when I got him back.
Oh, I did. I thought Lucina sucked compared to Marth.
Oh my god, no, you're insane. Getting the bow along with the sword, so good. Plus, Lucina just looks cooler. Anyways, but I was just like, all right, now Lucina is the main emblem. They never really did anything with it. They were just like,
no, she wasn't. She wasn't.
She instead of leaders like, I lost Marth. Can't wait to get Marth back. Yeah. I'm like, all right, what about these other emblems though? Like,
I don't.
What about Roy? Remember Roy?
I remember Roy. Roy was one of the ones I was missing. But like I said, I think we can sum this game up with good, strictly from gameplay perspective, but misses the mark in a lot of areas. I think that's a good summary of it. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this up? I think we're beating it into. I know people are gonna think we don't like the game, but we do like the game. Just don't think it's amazing or great or anything.
I like the game. The story is basically the equivalent of a Saturday morning anime.
Yep. Or a bad anime.
Yeah. Like really like basic like shonen stuff. And if you're into that and you're here for it, I think you could enjoy it. But I wanted some more depth and again higher character development. Mm-hmm. But gameplay fantastic, looks beautiful, runs surprisingly well on the Switch, except if you're loading between areas, and then it's clear that the Switch has limitations. I do want to see them. And my last point is I want to see them carry on with the tradition of having those little pixel sprites of your characters run on the loading screen. Yeah. I thought that was a really nice touch. But other than that, I liked the game. Like I said, I didn't love it.
If it was up to me, we would go back to the Three Houses style of games. Because I think that has a lot more replayability, has a lot more story development, characters are better, and then you don't have to choose, just combine them, just take the gameplay from this and put it with the story, and you can have both. You can have a complete Fire Emblem experience, and I hope they nail that in the next one. But we're gonna end it there. Let us know your thoughts down below if you have played Fire Emblem Engage. Who are your favorite characters? Who are your waifus? Who are your husbandos? And what did we get wrong? What did we get right? But until next time, thank you for
watching. Engage!
Bye.